essentially a global financial wealth manager, and they provide financial advice and solutions to private, institutional, and corporate clients worldwide, as well as private clients in Switzerland. And they're headquartered in Switzerland. So yeah, they are present in all major financial centers worldwide. So the structure of this sharing will kind of be, I think Minli will take the floor and she will share a little bit about what UBS does. And then when we're open to questions, you guys can feel free to send them in the Zoom chat, or yeah, just ask them verbally. We'll do as well.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the UBS booth. How are you all doing?
Doing very good, thanks.
Hi. Yes, so maybe I would like to open it to, just sort of a question and answer. If you guys have, any questions with regards to UBS and what we do, and also, the sort of opportunities that's open at the moment. And then perhaps you guys can also share a little bit with me about what you all are doing, what you all are looking at. And if you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer. So maybe a quick introduction. My name is Min. I'm actually from the campus marketing and relations for UBS covering the APAC region. So what that basically means is that I actually take care of the relationship with the universities in the various APAC location. So I work very closely with the people in the universities, especially the career offices. And then also some of the faculty representatives, depending on how the setup of the university is like. And then, I work very closely within the bank with the junior talent recruiters, recruiting for our junior talent program. So just maybe a introduction when I mentioned about the junior talent programs in UBS itself. We mainly in the region, we have 3 junior talent programs. So that's a summer internship program that is usually run over summer, around about July to about end of August, early September during your break. And that is usually for a duration of 10 weeks. So that's a summer internship program. And then we also have the industrial placement program, which depending on the business function and business division, it could be a 6 months placement program, or it could be a 12 months sort of a program. So with that program, you will actually require to take some time off school and to have that experience of what it is like exactly to be in the business for a longer duration, and that would let you know and experience what exactly it is like in the banking industry. If not, then a certain business division or business area that you apply to, that you really want to know what they do on the every day-to-day sort of basis. And then the next junior talent program we have is a graduate talent program. That one you actually would have to have graduated already with less than 2 years of working experience, and that you would apply for the position upon your graduation or 6 months before you graduate. And then with that, it will be a 18 to 24 months rotation program. You will be hired into the business area, but there will be different sort of a program offering. For example, for you in that batch, you will interact with the different graduate talents who have been hired into that program for, let's say, next year, for example, class of 2021. You all will have certain trainings together. And then you will also have your business specific trainings as well. And also at the same time, you will get to interact with the global, some of the graduate talents in the different regions as well. So having said that, the sort of graduate talent programs, what we have, the sort of training would include networking sessions with stakeholders. There would be different trainings about what the bank is about, and then you will also get to meet different stakeholders within the bank. And then there will also be activities or activities and sessions with the rest of the graduate talent. And also it would cover things like community sort of work and things like that. So that's generally what the program is about. But this year is a little bit different. So we have taken certain modification to it. and we just try to get them as much as possible to be together, you know, be it virtual or touch points like that. So yeah, this year is a little bit different for those who have been in the program with us. Yeah, so any questions for me at this point, or anyone would like to know anything about UBS and what we do?
Hi, my name is.
Hi, Nicholas.
Hi. I was wondering about your internship program that was for graduates. Because I'm also graduating soon, in maybe 1 year. I was wondering if you have any uh, summer internships for investment banking, particularly.
Right. Okay. So, Nicholas, if I get this right, you are graduating next year, July?
Yeah. No.
Run.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So, sorry, I should have mentioned that we have actually concluded our hiring for 2021, because the recruitment cycle usually, we sort of run the recruitment cycle this year, July, for our next year intake.
Right. Okay.
So in terms of that, we have already hired for our 2021 that will join us next year. But would be keen, for the next year recruitment cycle, if you're keen to look at something with us, we open our recruitment cycle in July 2021 for the class of 2022. So please do look out for then for you to join the graduate talent program, because by that time you will have graduated. So it would be the graduate talent program that you're looking at.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. But if you are interested in taking, a gap year, we do have industrial placement program that's open at the moment. In Singapore itself, we are still hiring for our global markets. That would actually be a 12 months program, but it's something that you would definitely have to plan ahead, to decide if that's something you want to do. But having said that, we do have people who have, taken that time off and really be in that program, and it was a wonderful experience for them. They really get to know what the business does, in the everyday and for that one whole year. Because to be honest, I think, if you're in an internship program, there's only so much that the line managers can actually assign some things for you to do. But then if it is, a one whole year, the sort of projects that you're involved in, the sort of learning that you're going to go through is definitely something very different from just, 10 weeks. And this year, unfortunately, because of the COVID, what used to be a 10-week sort of program was actually cut back to 5 weeks.
Right, I see.
Yeah. Can I just ask, out of curiosity, which university you're from and what's your major?
I'm in James Cook University and I'm majoring in finance. And
Okay.
take a couple of accounting courses as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm interested into going into more of the either corporate finance or investment banking. So I've applied for some internships here and there, and I'm just kind of looking up
Right.
the
Okay. Yeah. But definitely do look at us for the graduate talent program. It is a really good program to be in, and it gives you, that rotation and that sort of learning and touch points with different stakeholders, and also the graduate talents of your batch and also the alumni. So it's really a very good sort of a program with the networks, for you to actually learn about the bank and also about, the program and all that. So definitely encourage you to apply for it next year. Yeah, you may have missed it. I don't know, because we had our recruitment cycle that ran through locally in Singapore, Hong Kong. It was in September, and it was actually a virtual event. Yeah, you might have missed that one, but definitely we will have more events coming up. Through all the way to the recruitment of next year in July, August. So what we are going to do actually for the next year, we're planning for Business Insight series. So that will give you a very good understanding and insight knowledge into what our business is, how we do things maybe differently from our competitors as well. And the culture of UBS, I think, is something that I really want to highlight. It's a fantastic working culture, and we really support our talents and all that. So yeah, definitely encourage you to take a look at our career website, and we will be having events coming up. Do look out for it and sign up for it so that you have more understanding of what we do in our business.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think I
Thanks,
will try.
Nicholas.
Yeah, thank you
Graduate.
for the question. So with regarding like all the internship opportunities, I've like sent a couple of links into the Zoom chat. So if any of you are interested, you can feel free to take a look. Yeah, okay. So there are quite a few questions in the Zoom chat. So the first one is from Akshita. Hope I pronounced it correct. She says that she's an international student in Singapore and she'll be graduating in July. So do you have any programs that you would recommend for her to take part in?
She will be graduating July next year as well. Am I getting it right?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so I think it'd be similar to Nicholas. Next year, July, it would be the graduate talent program that she can look at applying, because for the summer internship and also the industrial placement program, they need to be in their penultimate years. And right now, what we have open is only the industrial placement. But I was telling Nicholas that you really have to plan for it, because if you're going to take a gap year from school, you need to work out like your timing. You need to work out, after 1 year, what's the sort of subjects that you can take on and things like that. So a lot of planning is required into that, but it is an experience that, after those who have applied and joined, I think it gives them that clarity, and it also gives them a deeper understanding and knowledge whether banking is what they want to do. And with that, they have the hands-on experience, they get to experience and be involved in different projects, because just of the duration of being there for 6 to 12 months, the level of responsibility that's given to them, the exposure is very different. The projects that they handle is also very different. So yes, so the program, if she's graduating in July next year, it would also be the graduate talent program that she can look at applying for our class of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, so the next question is from Ming Hui. She says that I think she's a polytechnic student, and she's asking if there are any internships you would recommend for those who specialize in the area of data analytics or financial informatics. Yeah.
I see. Okay. I think, I have to say that UBS, it is a very inclusive environment. So I wouldn't say that, oh, because you're from this, degree discipline, you will have to apply a particular role. These days you guys are also diverse from different background, from different sort of studies with different experiences. So what you have to offer to the table is very different. So we are not looking and shoehorning people, oh, you need to be from like a finance sort of a degree to apply for a finance job, for example. You can be from any degree discipline, and you apply for the role, and the process is that there will be right now, there will be tests online that you have to go through. And if you go through the online test, then you move on to the next phase of it will be like an online sort of you need to record an interview. And then if you pass that, you're considered, and then there's another next round of a super day. And then there would be like virtual interview or face-to-face interview if we come to that point. So there are different sort of assessments along the way, and it does not matter what degree discipline you come from. So if you clear the assessment, the online assessment, the tests, and then when you move on to the next round of a recorded interview, and then if you move on to the next phase of the what did I just say, a super day, and then also the actual interview itself, it is then for you to how would I say it? It will actually for you to convince the line manager, your experience, your background, your personality, your character. It's what you have to offer at the table. And then with that, maybe what if there is a fit in terms of that, it's more what we are looking at than a direct sort of yeah, what you study will have to be what you are applying for. It doesn't mean that.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is whether there are any programs that are still open for students who just graduated this year. So like in December.
Right. Yeah, we've concluded our hiring for 2021. So unfortunately, we don't have anything opened at the moment for anyone who is graduating, in December this year or July next year, because we usually sort of hire 1 year in advance for the following year. But do look out for our openings for next year for the class of 2022. Again, then that would be where you are ready to apply for the 2022 intake with less than 2 years of working experience. Would definitely recommend for you to look out when the openings start next year. And in between that, prepare yourself, find out a little bit more about UBS. We will be having a lot of events online, so do look at our career, the graduates sort of career website, where we would have events that will be ongoing. You can actually sign up for it, find out more about the bank, what we do, and that would then also prepare yourself to know whether it is a bank that you want to work for example. And then also you would know more about us. And then with that, it can prepare you for your application for next year. So having said that, don't just restrict yourself to information within, like, if you come from APAC and just attend the APAC events. We actually do have events, because it's all virtual now. Maybe the timing may not be as suitable, for the APAC sort of timing. But I mean, if you guys are up or whatever, do sign up for the events that's taking place in the UK or in Switzerland or in the US. There are different events that are region specific, but it's always good to have that kind of information, to hear from different people from the different regions, because we are a global bank. We work a lot with our offices in the different region, and that will give you insights on what we do, how it is different in the different regions. But you then have a complete picture of what UBS is all about, and you have more understanding about it, and that would help you in your application next year. And it will also help you with your understanding of the bank, if this is one that you want to apply for.
Kenneth, do you say something? Okay. Okay, so I think he left a question in the chat. So he's asking whether there's any opportunities for year one students. So like, for example, internship in Singapore, Hong Kong, or mainland China.
Okay. He is year one now, I would presume. So again, sorry, our 2021 we have hired, but having next year when the recruitment cycle opens, it's when he probably would be in year two. I don't know if it's pen ultimate depending on his degree discipline, but definitely something that he can look at next year to apply. And the recruiting cycle for Hong Kong and Singapore is very similar. And then in China itself, they do maybe have locally a little bit more programs, because they also have the apprenticeship program. But we'll have to look into the opening for more details next year. So if in the penultimate next year, depending on his degree discipline of study, he will be able to apply for the programs.
Okay, so just now, like, I think from one of the previous questions, we've established that UBS is quite open to any discipline that students are studying. So there's this question on whether, in terms of certification or like qualifications, do you need any type of like diploma for like investment banking analysts?
As
Like,
in
what's the
extra
qualification that's needed?
certification? Is that what the question is?
Like, do they need to get any kind of like certification or diploma in their major? Yeah.
Okay. If I understand the question correctly, I think it's not so much of whether they need to get any extra certification. So I think if they are looking at the internship program or the industrial placement, I think at this point it is not required with regards to what additional certification or professional sort of additional certification that they need to acquire. But I think when when you're working in the investment bank in particular, or even in our wealth management business, for example, or asset management, depending on the country itself, I think because it is going to be, you know, regulated by MAS, for example, in Singapore, let's say if you're in the investment banking, and if you're advising clients, you actually do need some sort of advice to be able to do that. So if you are part of the graduate talent program and you're applying after you have graduated into the various business areas and business function, along the way you will then be advised what sort of certification or, you know, licenses that you may need to acquire, and your line managers will guide you through it, and you know, do the necessary application for that. So I want to say it really depends on your role, what you're applying for, and depending on the regulations of the different countries and the licenses that are required in your role, then you will have to get that along the way, you know, and you will be advised by your line managers as you get into that position and into that role.
Okay, so another question from Kenneth. Is there anything that year one students can do to improve the possibility of getting an internship in like investment banking, wealth management, and asset management? I guess like how to build up their portfolio in a sense.
Yes, I think, you know, it's not just only for UBS. If you ask me, you know, from a sort of a general advice, I think, you know, you there are various assessments along the way. So you will really need to prepare yourself for each and every of the element, right? So for example, in the banking and finance industry, so the first round, it's usually a test and assessment, you know, it could be a biometric test, for example. So I think there are some online now that you can actually sort of put yourself through and have a sense of what the question is. The questions are like to prepare yourself for the biometric test that you have to go through, for example, in the investment banking. So all these sort of online assessment, I think you should get yourself very familiar with it. And I'm sure that you can Google it and you can find out how and what the questions are like, and you prep yourself along the way. So when that is done, and if you clear that, then there will be the next round where it will be a recorded interview. I mean, this is a UBS sort of a hiring process, just, you know, so that you're familiar with it. So you will probably give an introduction about yourself. So again, you know, what I would advise is that it has got to come through about your enthusiasm. So you need to think through about what you want to say, prepare yourself, and also you need to understand about UBS. You need to know about what we do. So for not just for us, for example, if you're applying for any jobs in general, it is very important that you find out what the company does, information about the company, current news of the company, you know, especially if it's very big news, you know, if you're interested in applying for it, you should be aware of what you're getting yourself into, and you should find out more information about that. So that has got to come through. And then following that, it will be like a super day assessment. So there will be more tests and all that. And after that, when it comes to the final interview, I think that's where you've cleared all the hurdles, and that is the final round, whether, you know, you make it or you break it. So that's where you meet with the line managers. So I think you really have to prepare for that. Again, to be prepared for that, know about the bank, know about the role that you're applying for. Not only read the job description of what you're going to get yourself into and what they're looking for, but if you have anyone, like, you know, from the alumni that works at UBS, you speak to them to know about the culture, to know about, you know, what it is like in UBS. It's always good to have some insights about that. and speak to people, friends, family who interacts with UBS, who knows about UBS, who works at UBS. What we look for is always, and you have to know, you cannot sort of bluff about. You really have to come across as, you're very sincere, that you're really very interested in what we do. You're very excited and motivated. So these are the characteristics that we would like to see, from students and any applicants. So with that, I think, it's not only for UBS, but for any roles that you are looking for. If you prepare yourself that way, your chances would definitely be higher than if you just let me try my luck and apply for a job and see how it goes and where it takes me. So definitely some homework needs to be done and some preparation needs to be done, and also research that has to be done as well. Hope that answers the question.
Okay, so thank you for all of your questions. I think we discussed a lot about the internship process and how we can try to apply and stand a good chance of getting a spot at UBS or other relevant internship places. Yeah, but do you want to share with us a bit on the actual operations that interns will do while they're there, the job scope or the work culture at UBS, what you think is special about it as compared to other organizations?
Sure. Okay, I have to say, the thing that really differentiates us, it's the work culture of UBS. I mean, that comes very personally for myself. If I may just share, I was actually, well, I started this role about 6 months ago. And prior to that, I actually took about 11 years break, and before I came back to UBS. But my last job before I started here was actually with UBS as well. So I was with them for about 3 or 4 years, and I was doing, more like a recruitment and also in a training and development sort of a function. And then I took a break, and I am here where I am today. So what makes me want to come back to UBS personally? It is a very fantastic working culture. It is, teamwork is imperative. We work very closely with teams within our own team and also within the wider team. So we don't just work, in a silo sort of manner, and I don't just work with my colleagues in Singapore. It's a global bank. We have to talk to people in the various regions. So we sort of just reach out to each other and work on different projects, on different initiatives, and also to get different information. We just reach out to them. So it is a very collaborative work environment. You just sort of reach out to someone if you need something. You can just go ahead and do that. So that's really quite amazing, and you always get the sort of level of support that you're looking at, and they're always very forthcoming and very helpful. If you're from a different sort of department and you're reaching out because you need the information, there is always that collaboration and communication and support that's there whenever that's required. So that's teamwork. And the other one of it is that it's a relatively flat hierarchy. So what I mean is that, whatever, if you come in at a certain level, it doesn't mean that you cannot reach out to someone who is like a stakeholder who is, of a much higher sort of rank. It's very accessible. If there's a need to, if you have any questions, the email is there. You can always just drop an email, and yeah, it will be answered at some point depending on whether they're busy or not. But it's not like you don't have access to them. If for a very, very valid reason that you need to reach out to them, and if you have any concerns, you can always just reach out and ask. So that's a very good thing about it. And also, if you're in the program, for example, like the graduate talent program, there's also, like I mentioned, you can reach out to the stakeholders, your networking sessions. So that's where you build your network. Within the firm itself, it's always good to know people from different business divisions, from different functions, because you never know when you will collaborate, when you need information, and you have their own network, and you can just reach out to them for information, or direct you to certain places. That always helps. So the flat hierarchy. I think it's really quite awesome. And then also that's with the collaboration as well. That's very important. The other thing I want to say is that also I think integrity is a very important thing that we hold true in our bank. I think it's not only just about the roles that we do. I think we have to have that in us, to have the integrity in what we do, in everything that we do. So at the end of the day, we are talking about delivering a client experience. That's very important for us. Whatever role that we do, we always want to deliver the client experience that we pride ourselves very much into. And I think that's one thing that really differentiates us as well. So that comes from doing the things that you do with integrity, and thinking about your clients, thinking about your colleagues, and thinking about how you want to give your best. I think that all comes into play together, and to work in a team. I think that's very important. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess you could say that the work culture at UBS is very like team-like.
Yes, it is very much that. So I have a great experience, prior to me in this role. So that's why I really I looked at, when I was looking for job again, I looked at coming back to UBS, and that was the first place I applied to. And it's fantastic. And on top of that, I have to say, not just the teamwork, not just the integrity, and also all that, the support within the team is also very amazing. Not just the team, but also the bank itself. I want to say it's one of those banks. It's not just they talk about it, but they really walk the talk. So it's really quite amazing to get that sort of a support and recognition, from a bank, that yeah, that is like that. I don't think I can. I worked in a few organizations. I don't feel the same sense, or same sort of culture that I have experienced in UBS. So yeah, really nice to be back again. It's like just coming back right in, and when as part of a family. So it's been quite amazing. Yeah.
So how do you think like UBS like in terms of operations and like how like the team structure works and everything, like how do you think that has changed like since the pandemic?
Uh, that's a very good question. I joined right during the pandemic in July. So, how has it changed? Um, if I may just answer it very broadly, and I want to say maybe, just from my own personal experience, because I wasn't with them pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic was like 11 years ago. The landscape was a little bit different. I think, just from beginning of this year to when I joined in July, and what it is right now, I think it's just been a very challenging year, for everyone on all fronts. And it has been very, not only challenging, but I think, I always want to say with challenge, it comes with a lot of opportunities, and I think it comes with a lot of learning as well. So having said that, I think in the roundabout, when the peak of everything, everyone was just kind of waiting and seeing, what things are going to be, the things are going to get better, and then you kind of react to all of that. So from the operations front, if I may say it right, and also representing it, and the way I see it is that, we have been very prepared. I think we have prepared ourselves very well for that, in the sense that, from the time about March, everyone just waiting to see what's going to happen. And then from April onwards, pretty much in Singapore context, everyone had to work from home, right? That was what it was when, the phase one kicked in. Everyone has to work from home. But we have a fantastic team of technology people who actually reacted and also delivered all of the employees to work from home. Actually, not only Singapore, but the rest of the regions. Not only in Singapore, but the rest of the regions around the world, to prepare people to be able to work from home. I think on the technology front, they had to react very quickly. And I have to say they did a very great job on that, because to just switch from everyone working from home all of a sudden, it's not just click of a button and that all happens. So of course there were some glitches along the way, but it has been addressed, and we were able to actually do that. And having said that, it's not only about our employees working from home, but at the same time, we still had to deliver what we have to deliver to our clients, and that's very important. Not only just the employees, but also taking into consideration for them to be still able to service our clients in the same way. So it's been amazing what they have delivered on that front. And we had our best quarter 2 ever this year, and the business is still growing. So it's really been amazing to be able to deliver all of that, to the employees and also to our clients. And on the operations front, yes, it's a big switch for everyone to be working from home, but this is what the new norm is. So I think it's not only the bank's front on how we have to do it, but also at the employees front on the personal level, we also had to adjust to all of that change as well. And with that, I think the firm has supported us very much on that front. I was onboarded from home. I've been working from home since I started, but to still remain connected with your colleagues, even though I've just been working from home, it has been quite good, and it's quite amazing. And this is what technology has to offer us, right? So it is through regular sort of a communication through virtual platforms online. I'm able to remain in contact, have meetings, even though the interaction is different, but this is what we can do, and this is what we're given at this point, and we make the best out of it. So still feel very much very included, even though I was onboarded remotely. So having regular meetings, it just kind of changed the way we did things, and we're more creative about it. But definitely it's something that we have to do, and yeah, we still manage that, and just hope that at some point things would go back to normal, and there would be that face-to-face interaction. Nothing takes that away, but yeah, we just kind of deal with what we have at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's very assuring to hear that I guess UBS is very adaptable and resilient in that sense. Yeah, so there are a few questions. So firstly, is there a GPA requirement for internship application? And secondly, there's someone who's interested in taking FRM exams, and she's asking whether that will leave a good impression when applying for the programs.
I think so GPA, again, the summer internship program and also the industrial placement, you'll be in your penultimate year, right? So results is one thing. I mean, that is what you will have to do. You aim to be the best at what you do, and you try to be very good in that area. So again, for us, it's not just like only the scores that we look at, because there will be a series of assessments, as I mentioned, that you will have to cross that in order for you to get on to the next round. So grades is one thing, but there is an online assessment, the plyometrics test. It could be a psychometric test as well. So different things that we're looking for, and it is assessing different sort of capabilities. And with that, somehow you will then funnel through into the last few stages. So to answer your question, so it's not only just the scores. We don't look at the scores only, because when you send an application, it's not that you are phased out based on your score. It's really through a very fair assessment center, a very fair way of assessment throughout the different sort of assessment types, that you come to the final stages. And that's where you actually meet with the line manager, and it's really more about the fit into the role and into the organization than the score at the end of the day. You get what I'm trying to say? So you must like the culture of UBS. You must fit the culture of UBS. You must be a team player. You must be up for challenges, and you must be creative. So it's different characteristics that we look for. That yes, not through the assessment, not by going through the assessment it comes out. it sometimes you come out through an interview, you know, with a certain question, with a certain interaction, then you know what a person is like, and you get it from there. So I wouldn't say the GPS is the only thing that we're looking for. It's not the determining factor whether we're going to hire you or not. It's, you know, through a series of assessment, and finally it's your interview, your personal interview with your line manager, and from there they're able to assess whether there's a fit to the culture, whether there's a fit to the role. So, you know, prepare for that when it comes to that point. And then also additional qualifications. It would be great if you have it. But again, you know, it is through the assessments that put you in the final place, and whether, you know, there is a fit and what we're looking at. If you have additional things to offer, great. But, you know, it will only come out towards the end when we look at you, and when we look at, you know, what we're hiring, and you have to cross the assessments in order for you to get to that point. Yeah.
Okay, I think perhaps on this note of like different qualifications and attributes that UBS will be looking out for, do you think you could boil it down to like certain traits that you hope that, you know, the youth working or interning at UBS will have?
Oh, okay. I don't know if you want to quote me on that. But you know what we look out for really, it's someone who is a real team player, because we really look very much at, you know, teamwork. You have to be willing to sometimes go beyond your role a little bit, and not just say, hey, you know, this is what I signed up for, this is not what I signed up for, you know, what are you asking me to do that, you know, all that sort of thing. So I think to be a team player is very important. You know, for example, if you're coming in as a summer intern and you're asked to do certain you know, research, for example, be part of the team. You know, it could be go beyond what you were asked to do, or, you know, you might have to stay a little bit later than what, you know, it should be sometimes. But be very prepared and be very willing to do that. I think, you know, the learning will then be very tremendous if you are a team player, and if they involve you in the teamwork, if they involve you in what the team is doing. I think then for your own personal sort of experience and exposure, it will be very different. So that's number one. I think you must also be up for challenges, because you know, with challenges, there is change, and then there's creativity. What you all have to bring in terms of your background, your degree, discipline, and your exposure, it's very different. So be up for challenges, and always be prepared to voice your opinion, of course, in a good way, in a constructive way. You know, if you have any ideas, you know, feel free to bring them to the table. We are always, you know, looking for new ideas, new ways of doing things. That's how we actually brainstorm and be creative, and we actually improve, and then, you know, on the way that we do things. What else would I say would be a good characteristics? Let me just think. I think be very open to 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 things that come your way, because I think right now in this year we've experienced that it can be very different, and things just change, you know, within months. So I think we must always have the flexibility and the adaptability to change as well. You know, I think that's one thing, to be always positive in looking at what things are. Yes, you know, despite sometimes there could be challenges and all that, but it's always good to have the flexibility, and also have, you know, that adaptability to what change is, and you know, to rise up to that. I think that is very important. um and I think you also have to be personable, be able to work with different people, to be able to interact with your team members, with, you know, across business divisions. It's always good to have that um, good sort of EQ, to be able to relate to people, and be personable, and you know, to be able to get along with your colleagues. um, I think being proactive is also very important, because sometimes you just, if you see that there's something, and you know, that you could value add, or you have a question, or you sort of a different way of doing things, you know, feel free to actually articulate that, and you know, do help and raise questions and see how you can value add in different ways. Yeah, I think, basically just having that very positive, willing to be hardworking, being curious about things, and then being very passionate about what you do. I think those are very important traits to have, just as a start. And I think, in anything that you do, you have to enjoy what you're doing, right? If not, coming into work every day is just, not going to be that great. So, have that positive attitude, and always be very curious, always be up to challenge, and want to bring change. I think that would be very great for the team.
Thank you, Miss. I was just gonna ask. Sorry, I'm just gonna interrupt here a little bit, but
No, go ahead.
I was wondering if for the graduate program, you guys have it, if I understand, in Singapore in August for the application for the graduate traineeship program. So it's, if it's, let's say I graduate in July, if I apply in August, will I get it? Will I, and I pass assumingly, will I start then, or will I start the following year?
You will start the following year. So for example, for you, Nicholas, you're going to graduate in July, and let's say applications open in August and it runs through to October. So with that period, because we hire on a rolling basis, so you will then be going through the assessments and all of that. There'll be dates and it comes up to that, and then you will be for the class of 2022. So you will start in the following year in 2022 when you apply next year, 2021 August.
Okay, and this graduate
Yeah.
program is also a chance for people to potentially get a full-time offer if things go our way.
So the graduate talent program actually a full-time offer. So you are hired into it. Yeah. So it is a program, but and you're hired into the business division or business area, but you are in the graduate talent training program
Yeah.
for 18 to 24 months, depending on which business area you're in. So in the 18 to 24 months, that's where you have to attend certain, graduate talent program training, that is as a group, or as your business division. But then after which you well, there's also rotation, if I may also mention. And then after which, then you are then full-time working in your business division, as a regular hire. Yes.
Right.
Yes, but good question, Nicholas. I should have mentioned also for the summer internship and also for the industrial placement, which there is a duration to it. So for example, summer internship is 10 weeks, and then for industrial placement is 6 to 12 months. That's the duration of that particular hire. That if you do well in your internship and your industrial placement, you will then, because you are applying during your penultimate year, then you can be considered for the GTP program if your performance during that summer internship and during the IP is good. Does it make sense, Nicholas?
Right.
So the GTP is just, you are already a full-time hire, but it's just that you are within this program for 18 to 24 months with certain training elements involved, and then after which you go to your business division, and then you are just going to run from there.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Yep.
Okay, so there's another question in the chat. So Ashita is an international student, and she's asking whether there will be restrictions or limitations when she is being considered as an applicant. So and whether like there are visa requirements, and whether UBS will like come to her aid in terms of like handling like visa.
Okay. This one, you will have to look at okay, because I'm not the recruiting side, so I may not be representing it right. Okay, so there will be certain okay, so for example, let's say for the industrial placement program, you will actually need to have working rights in the country that you are applying for. The summer internship, that may be the case as well. But for the graduate talent program, I do not think that you need to have working rights. So that means that, if required required, a visa could be applied on behalf. But I would strongly recommend for her to actually look at our career websites for further information on that. So if you go into our career website, there's a link where you can click on your region, depending on where they are from. So it really depends on the countries and the requirements. So I can't speak for all countries and all regions, right? So please look into our career website. There is a one for graduates, so click on graduates and then also the region, and then look at the position that you are interested in. When it's open, or in other regions, some may be open. So please click into it and take a look, and there will be more information provided on the various website, and the country that you're applying for. All the requirements will be stated there. Does that help?
Okay. Min Lee, do you mind providing like your email in case any of them want to contact you after today?
Sure, not a problem. We'll be very happy to be in touch.
Yeah, you can just drop it in the Zoom chat. Yeah.
Yes, let me do that. Sorry, I didn't bring it up. So let me just put my contact details here. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. So Anton has kindly moderated the whole session
It's
for
okay,
me.
it's
Thank you,
fine.
Anton. Okay, this is my email address. So feel free to drop me a note or a question if you have any. Yep.
Also, like, okay, this might be a bit technical, but is there like a number of years that they will have to be contracted to UBS after they take on a job there?
I wouldn't say it's contract. Well, it depends on the nature of the employment. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a number of years that you are contracted for. I mean, the duration of the internship's 10 weeks, and the industrial placement is 6 to 12 months. The GTP is really like a program. I was telling Nicholas, it's a program with the training elements between 18 to 24 months, and after that you go to the business. So there isn't like a contracted period. You have to be with us, but what we are looking for is for people to build a career with us. That's why we actually invest a lot in the junior talent program, and we really make the commitment to start reaching out to the young people on campus, and work very closely with the career offices to the talent to the programs that we're offering, like the internships and all of that, hoping that we can attract young talents to work with us. And in that, it's not just about doing the job you do, but I also have to mention that the career opportunities within UBS, it's amazing. If you are looking at, you're hired into a senior role, for example, and then you feel like, hey, I want to maybe try this particular role in another country, another region. That could be something that you look at within UBS itself, because we are a global bank. We have a global presence, right? So just to give you a little bit of a flavor, so basically we have about 69,000 employees globally, right? We have about 147 nationalities within the bank itself, right, in 50 different countries. And we have 893 offices, for example, right? So, and the average sort of tenure at UBS, it's 9 years, over 69,000 employees, right? So that gives you a flavor in the sense of, what the average, some of them have been with the bank like since their first job and until now. I have known a few people within the bank. They have just been with UBS. They've been worked for UBS for 30 years, for 25 years. They built their career with UBS. And the only reason why anyone would actually do that is because UBS, this firm, supports their different career development and aspirations at different points. we don't expect everyone to do the same job, that you come in for right at the beginning. Along the way, you might be up for different challenges. You may want to try something new. It's always something that you can explore within the firm itself. So I think, that is something that we really can pride ourselves in, to just let you have a sense of what sort of the opportunities and the possibilities are with UBS itself. Yeah.
I think in line with what you just said on like career progression, would you say that for the graduates that join UBS, they can kind of advance their career quite fast? And like, yeah, like how does UBS like support that kind of social mobility
Um,
aspect?
Right. I cannot say that, for sure, UBA will support everyone. It also has to come from individual as well. It really depends on individuals' sort of capabilities. I think that's one thing. Whether you're willing to put in the hard work, whether there is a fit. There are many variables and many things to consider, when we want to say that sort of a mobility that you are looking at within the bank itself. It cannot be, hey, I just want to move because for the sake of moving. It can't just be that. Of course, it's got to be a combination of different factors that, you're looking at a certain career progression, you're looking at, a certain country, and whether there's a certain role. So a lot of things have to come in play as well. And then you as an employee, whether there's a fit to it, whether your sort of work attitude, is it something that, what your line manager would recommend you, and whether it is something that your new line manager looks for. So I think, I cannot answer with a blanket and say yes, we will support everyone like that. And it's not for me my position to say that, but I would rather say that, there is always that chance, there's always that possibility. We provide that platform, but it's up to you as an individual on how far, how much, and what is the sort of effort that you put into it to plan your own career, to drive your own career in the direction that you want it to. So UBS definitely has that platform, has that, capability, has, that sort of support. It's all there for you. But what do you want to do with it? I think, that's something that you will have to drive it for yourself. But having said that, if you're on board, it's always something to think about. Speak to your line managers, and with that you have a better understanding of what you want to do. So it's really about getting the foot into the door, and then the possibilities are just amazing, and it's just all there for you to actually utilize it.
Okay,
I
thank
hope
you.
that answers the question. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so there's a bit of confusion about like the industrial placement. Yeah, okay, because I think one of the requirements written on there is that they need less than 2 years of work experience. So she's asking if fresh grads can actually apply for this
Industrial
spot.
placement.
Yeah.
I think if the less than 2 years working experience, it's really for the graduate talent program. Am I right to say that? Because I know the industrial placement, you need to be in your penultimate year, and maybe with less than 2 years working experience. So if you are graduated already, I don't think you can actually apply for that. Let me just take a quick look. Is it in the chat, Anton? Let me just.
Okay, wait, I'll send it. I'll send all the links. Yeah.
I sorry, I see the link there. No worries. I will just actually look into my file. I'll take the next question in the meantime while I just look at it, if you don't
Okay,
mind me
sure.
multitasking.
Okay, so the next question is, how does UBS support internal transfer for an employee? So if they would wish to have an international career experience, will this be possible?
I think it's like what I mentioned before. If you're looking for different experience, if you're looking for different exposure, um, the possibility is always there. The platform is there. We are a global bank. Within the bank, we support that. So it's really what you are looking at, for yourself in if you're with UBS, what your next role is going to be, or what is a new exposure that you're looking for. It is very much supported if that's what you're asking, whether it's something that is possible. It is definitely possible, but again, it depends on how you would like to drive that for yourself, because we can't say, hey, we want to move you here, we kind of force you there. That's not what it's going to be. If there's an opportunity, put your hand up for it, attempt it, try it, and see how it works for you. Of course, at the same time, it has got to be good works that comes with it, that you'll be recommended, and you can take it further. So the platform is definitely there. It's a lot of opportunities, just because we're such a global bank. So it's really how you want to drive it forward for yourself. Yeah. Sorry, let me just take a quick one. Okay, so Anton, just answering the question earlier, I think in our job scope, it's very clear that you still need to be working towards your university degree course while getting the opportunity to be part of a real team. So yes, you have to be in your penultimate year in order to apply for the industrial placement program. I hope that helps.
So okay, moving back to something that you mentioned earlier about how UBS is actually quite open to many different disciplines of study. Yeah, do you mind elaborating more on this? I guess, what sort of functional skills do you think the employees of UBS need to have, and how would what they're learning in school now kind of aid them in this, since it's
Mm,
so interdisciplinary?
yeah, it is. So again, like I mentioned, you don't have to be in banking and finance, or economics, or things like that, in order to look for a job in banking and finance, right? Because there are many different things that you can bring to the table, what you study, and what you are going to do, and sometimes it differs, to be very honest, right? So myself, I was actually from a finance and marketing background, right? So my first job, I was actually doing corporate finance. If you ask me personally, did what I learned in school actually help me in my first job in corporate finance? Yes, it did, to a certain extent, to understand things in the broad strokes. But what you learn from school and what the life experience that you're going to get at work actually is very, very different. What you learn in school, it's to have some sort of background information, and then it probably gets you to have a general sense of things, but then when you start working, it is very, very different. So having said that, so I think when I say it doesn't matter which degree discipline you come from matters, because the training is available in UBS. The support from the team is available. Um, but I think what differentiates is whether you have the attitude to want to learn. If you're interested in learning, if you're passionate about what you're doing, it's always easier to pick things up than if you have that resistance, like, hey, I actually hate this, I don't like it, but I don't know what am I doing here. So there is that block that you will never get past, that personal hurdle of wanting to be better. So to answer your question, any degree discipline. So for example, in investment banking, we also look at people from the STEM background. because you know that the nature of the job in investment banking itself, it's not or corporate finance, you know, in the global banking, it's not just about, oh, you know, understanding the economics of what things are. I mean, you can be a lawyer, you can be a you know, engineering student, but if you know what's going on in the world, you know, that's economics for you. You don't need clearly economics to work in a bank, for example, right? So, but having said that, you have different skill sets. So maybe engineering, you're more you know, you're better with numbers. That could be something that you're looking at. It doesn't numbers. It's in your everyday life. You don't have to. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. How should I put it? You don't have to, you don't have, if you go in numbers, you can run Excel sheets, for example, and that's what you need to do in some of the job nature of what we do. I mean, you know, in my job, I also do run Excel sheets. So the skill set's different. So that's why when I say, you know, it doesn't have to be a certain degree discipline that we consider for a certain role. Everyone has different skill sets to bring to the table, and with what you study as your background, you could have a different perspective of how to look at things, you know, in whatever role that you are applying for. So we embrace all of that diversity, that difference, and we believe that there is a different things that you can bring to the table, whatever your experience is, whatever you study. And you know, as long as there's a fit and the attitude is right, that there will always, then everyone is challenged in a different way, and then you can actually contribute in a different way. Yeah, I think that's what, you know, I really mean when I say we don't look at degree discipline. We really look at, you know, whether you're a team player, whether you want to be challenged, whether you want to voice out your opinion, whether it's something that you're looking at to do. I think that really then sets you apart from the other people.
Yeah, very insightful. Okay, so there's a technical question about the 2 years work experience requirement. So Ashita has done an apprenticeship irrelevant to the financial field while she was schooling. So she did it for around like 3+ years as a like a part-time job. So will this be considered a work experience
Sorry,
for more than 2
say
years?
that again. So Ashita has worked for like a 2 years internship somewhere else during her what's that? Sorry,
She did it part-time for 3+ years. So yeah, but it was not like in finance.
I see. Okay, so she just graduated, or
Ashita, do you want to share?
sorry, are you there, Ashita? Sorry, maybe I'm not getting the question right.
Yeah. So like during my
Hi.
school times, hi.
Mhm.
During my school times, I did an apprenticeship in like a clothing industry. So will
Mhm.
that like for 3 years plus 7 months? So will that be considered as a work like a full-time work experience thing while applying for a graduate program?
Sorry, was it like a continuous 3 years that you were
Oh,
working, or it's actually
on,
just kind of like your sort of holiday vacation that added up to 3 years, for example?
yeah. It's like during my vacation time.
Right. I don't think that would be considered as the 3 years. I do not think so, but sorry, because I'm not from the recruiting team, so I may not be representing it right. But yeah, you know, feel free, please, you know, still send your application to us, and then we will consider based on it. But yeah, if it's during your school holiday vacation, I do not think that would be, you know, considered as your working experience upon graduation. I want to say, because if I read that, it would be, you know, maybe after you graduate, you can still, if you're working for right after you graduate, if you work for 3 years, that probably, you know, then you've been working for 3 years. But you know what the graduate talent program means, you know, you've graduated, but you know, you have less than 2 years of working experience. Upon the time where you graduated, you are still eligible to apply.
Okay.
Yeah, so please look out for our opening, our recruitment cycle for next year, and apply to our graduate talent program for the class of 2022.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ashida.
Okay, so I think Seth has a question.
Hi,
Hello.
Sat. Hi.
Yeah. I was the one asking about the 2 years work experience questions. Just now I was looking at the industrial placement 2021 Global Banking Singapore, and one of the things that mentioned is that you need to be graduating in December 2022 and with less than 2 years of work experience.
Okay.
So that's the part that I don't get it.
Okay. Let me just take a quick look at that. Sorry. Yeah, so I think in total, you need to still be in your penultimate year, and you should not have worked for more than 2 years. So I believe that includes like during the internship.
Oh, okay, I guess, yeah.
Sorry, Seth, which year are you from, and maybe which degree discipline are you from?
I'm final year now, banking and finance.
Final year now, banking and finance. Right, okay. Maybe you would like to look at our graduate talent program that's upcoming next year in July. So that would be something that you'll be eligible for, because I think it states there also for the industrial placement, you need to be in your penultimate year. So you're already in your final year, so it'll really be the GTP that you're looking at.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Look forward to
Thank
your
you.
application. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's another question in the chat about like self-development and learning on investment banking. So I think they're asking you for advice on whether they should focus on a specific topic within banking or whether they should focus more on general knowledge.
Sorry, can you repeat that again? They are looking at
like in their own time learning about investment banking. So I guess they are seeking your advice on whether it would be better to focus on to like specialize in like a certain area of investment banking while they're like learning on their own, or whether they should acquire like some general knowledge.
okay. What I personally think, it's to understand about what the different business divisions are, if you're asking me. And I think then, with that understanding, then you also have to question yourself. You know yourself better on what your character is, and what you like and what you dislike. And with that, you kind of plan and decide then which route you want to embark further. So the reason why I say that is because you need to be passionate about what you do. You need to be happy with what you're doing in order to build the career out of it. So for example, just taking me for example, if I may share my personal experience. So I did finance and I did marketing. Right, it's two very different things, and that was what I chose for myself because well, actually not I chose for myself. The finance bit was because my dad kind of wanted me to do that finance bit, and I always felt that I wanted to do the marketing thing. So it was very different. But having said that, and looking at where I am, like I mentioned before, my experience, I started off in corporate finance, right? And I'm in marketing, campus marketing today. So I tried both of what I wanted to do. And yeah, I mean, I'm lucky to be able to choose, kind of got into where I am to try the two different areas and compare. When I did corporate finance earlier, it was hard. And I would have to say it is hard because with the deals that you're doing, with the deadlines that you're doing, with the intensity of the deals, with all that's going on, it's a very quick pace. It's a very challenging. It's a very demanding environment. It's not. I didn't work. I didn't get on off work on time at 6:30 every day. There were days where I worked till like 11, 12. Just because of the nature of the due. I mean, I'm being very absolutely honest about it. It was hard work, but it was very rewarding because I learned a lot when I was in corporate finance in my previous company. I will not mention where, and the sort of deals that we did, it was like merger and acquisitions. It's so interesting about what goes into a deal. The due diligence. What could just be something that comes on that totally throws the deal off. The nature of the industry was also very interesting. So I learned so much, in the 4 years when I was with the corporate finance, intense environment, long working hours, but I learned so much out of it that I appreciated, the complexity of it, gave me an understanding of how things work in real life, in how a deal works, how did an IPO come about, what you need to do in the background of an IPO. It's not just, the news, or everything's all good, it's an IPO, but there are a lot of things that go, at the back, a lot of work that's involved, the due diligence, the lawyers involved, the different independent party involved in terms of all that sort of, for one deal to come through. So that was, the corporate finance bit, and I did 4 years of it. And I thought, hey, that was quite enough for me personally. I wanted to do something different. So that's where I kind of went into the HR, and that's completely different in the way that I was doing recruitment, and I was actually dealing with people. And personally, I like dealing with people, in that sort of sense. And right now where I am in my role, I'm dealing with people in a different way and interacting with people in a different way. So I enjoy what I'm doing right now, and maybe it's just at a different phase in my life that I like that interaction with you all young people, and also with the universities, and just talking about sharing my experience as well. It's what I had before kind of brought me to where I am today, and I am grateful that I'm given this opportunity to do something different from what I was doing before. But having said that, I wouldn't change my previous experience for anything else, because it was really an amazing time, and it gave me different skill sets I've learned along the way, different exposure, different understanding, and I had a complete sort of appreciation of how the bank works, how the economy works, how companies work. So yeah, so to your question, I cannot give that personal advice and say, hey, you must actually know, you must do this will be good for you. I probably will tell that to my kids, but I can tell that to you. It really depends on what you know yourself as a person and what you think you would enjoy. But having said that, you all are still very young. Do explore, try out different things, really go out and try different things and gain that different experience, because sometimes what you think it is, and when you do it, it's very different from that thought that you had in your mind and the actual execution of things. Right. So, I always thought, wow, corporate finance, it's really cool, it's nice and all that. But, there's a lot of hard work behind it that you need to, and you want to, and you're willing to do it, So, yeah. So I cannot tell you, yes, I would tell you to go into investment banking. That is the way for you to go into a bank. And that's the only thing about the bank. Not necessarily. It could be wealth management, that you're interested in, meeting clients in a different way, advising them on their investment portfolio in a different way, for example. Or it could be like me, I'm currently sitting in the group functions where, the HR is, and then the marketing is, and all that, which I totally enjoy what I'm doing at the moment, because, I get to interact with people in a different way. Yeah. So you need to know yourself. You need to know what you are fit for, what you can take, what sort of challenge you like, where your skill sets are. So in order for you to kind of match that too, you also need to understand in detail, for example, what investment banking is, what wealth management is, what the role entails. So again, speak to people who are in that field, who are in that line, to really have an understanding on the requirements of the job, And then with that, you have to match it and see if it's something that you're happy in doing, and it actually suits, you know, your personal sort of you know, passion and your desire on what your career you want it to be. Yeah, so there's no right or wrong answer for that. I mean, I just shared my personal experience on what it has been like for me, but you really have to make that choice for yourself, and you know yourself best in what you would like to do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing with us your personal story in UBS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's a question from Seth on
Mm.
when the application for the graduate talent program will open.
So Seth, to answer your question, I want to say recruitment cycle, you know, okay, so maybe if I may share what the whole campus sort of calendar would look like next year. So I would strongly encourage you all to look at the UBS you know, career website, and we are on Instagram as well. So please follow us on the UBS careers. That's where we also would post information on our upcoming events, on what we're doing. So you can be informed of all these like information. So for next quarter 1 of next year, we would have very targeted sort of marketing events. You know, we will be touching on certain topics, and then in Q2 itself, we will be moving into more business insight series, because that would be ahead of the recruitment cycle. So when I say business insight series, that means, you know, we will be having sessions about what the individual business divisions we have. So in UBS itself, we have the investment banking. Investment banking covers global markets and also global banking, right? So that's the investment arm. And then we have the global wealth management. That's where, you know, we advise like our individual private wealth. And then there's asset management. And then there's also the group functions, where group functions it's where technology fall under, let's say, for example, HR, and then, you know, communications and all that. So it comes under the group functions. So we would have information series on the individual business division, so that you all will have a sort of a deeper understanding of what they do. And with that, you probably would be able to have more information and be more informed, and to see which sort of business area you would like to find out more about. You do more research, and then, you know, when recruitment season opens in July through to October, you know, that's when you will send your application for the openings, be it whether it's a summer internship, whether it is the industrial placement or the GTP program. Then, you know, you will be able to apply for it during that time. So set your question. Yes, it will be during July to October. So please follow us on Instagram, UBS Careers. And we have also you know, we're on Facebook, and you know, with also on our career website. Do go in and see once in a while on what we are having. You know, definitely something that will interest you. Sign up for our events if you like to find out more about you know, the things that we do in UBS. And also, you know, I would strongly encourage for you all to attend at least one of our events. You know, if you just want to find out not only about the business division, but also with that, hence attending the virtual events, it gives you a sense of what the people are like in the bank. You know, I mean, it's virtual right now. There's you know, unfortunate, there's not that face-to-face sort of interaction. If I could, you know, I would be in campus, and, you know, I would love to see you all face-to-face rather than through a virtual platform like that. That's my personal preference. But, you know, with that, even though it's virtual, but I do hope that you see what the culture is like. You can see, you know, the teamwork, the collaboration, the support. You know, as much as possible, we hope that will come through, you know, across in our virtual events, so that you students also have a sense of what people are like in UBS. This is the kind of, you know, people that we look for, and from there you will be able to see whether it is fit to what you are looking for, and whether it is a firm that you want to look for, and whether it's a firm that you would like to build your career with, you know, going forward.
Okay, thank you. I will be keep looking out.
Cool, Seth. Hope to see you.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Joseph, I think he has a question for you.
Oh, yeah. Give me 1 second. So sorry. I was on Zoom. I'm on Zoom on my phone, but it's kind of not connecting very well. So
no worries, Joseph.
Yeah, I'm logging into my computer right now.
Hello.
Hi, Joseph. Hi.
Hi. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I guess my question relates more about the culture of UBS in general. So I understand that UBS encourages people to cross functions like what you did, right? And I think what I'm kind of wondering about is there like a lot of cross departmental events or like cross departmental like outings, things like that, or is most of the socialization outside of work more by department?
Mm,
Is it just me? Is she frozen?
Okay, yeah, I thought it was just me as well.
Um,
Was my question that bad?
okay.
oh, what happened?
I think you got disconnected for a while.
Oh dear. Is everyone back on? Hi, sorry, I got disconnected for a little bit. Joseph, you there? Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so I'll say, so when I was with UBS, I'm within the HR function. So I started off with recruiting, and then I moved on into the learning and development space, right? So it's something, and then now I'm in the campus marketing. So for me, joining UBS, I really wanted to have a sense of what this whole HR sort of piece. I mean, when you talk HR, it's not just hiring. Then there's also training, and then there's also payroll. There's also common beds. So within the HR function itself, there are many things that you can do. So for me, I wanted to try to make it as complete as much as possible. So I kind of raised my hand up at some point and say, hey, I've done recruiting. Maybe I want, after recruiting the people, you need to retain the people, and you think about how and to part of and to retain people, part of it is to really let them learn and grow. They can't just be stagnant and just do the job every single day. So that's where I say, hey, I want to learn a little bit more about that. And then after that, I want to come into the junior talent space to speak to young people and just do that whole marketing. So yes, UBS supports that, and so that's where I am today. So you really need to kind of raise your hand up and say, hey, I really like to do that role. And then they see if there's a fit for you to go in that role. And, if it complements my whole sort of career development, I think, the platform is there for me to do that. So yes, so that's one thing. And to answer your question with regards to cross-divisional sort of networking events, I think that's what you're asking about. I think for a graduate coming into UBS, I think it's a lot easier in a way, I want to say, because looking at the graduate talent program, for example, if you're going to graduate and that's what you are looking at applying for, it is across business division, and that is your network. So you'll be interacting. If you're, for example, you're hired as a GTP into wealth management, for example, you would have peers in the global region. In APAC itself, for example, you'll be hiring as a batch in APAC itself. You guys will be like the class of, let's say next year, a class of 2021, and then there's a global level, the GTPs of UBS, at the 2021. So that's your network of your class 2021. But it's not just that only. You would then have sessions with your alumni of the GTP alumni. There's this thing called the GradNet, right? That's your network within the bank, and it's across the various business divisions already. And it's up to you. So if you are, let's say, in the APAC region, there'll be different, and within your class, you will be doing certain training blocks together. There'll be community work that you're doing together. Your alumni, your GTP alumni could also participate in that, and then there'll be different touch points for you all, perhaps at a global level as well. and then you'll be meeting different stakeholders within the bank. So to answer your question, there will be a lot more opportunities, I want to say, for a GTP, and that's part of the whole program in building your own network within the bank itself. So if you need information, let's say your wealth management, hey, you need to understand about these, this client, about what they do in their industry, you will have your network to reach out to if it's an MNC, for example, you can reach out to your GTP in global markets and global banking and say, hey, I need some information, what you know, for example, so that's your network, right? And there would be like sort of touch points, and you can reach out to them. So again, I think it's how you want to build that network further. It's you guys can arrange for things, that right now, our GTPs, for example, they started off some working virtually, so it's not possible to meet, but they schedule their own Zoom meetings, and they catch up and just get to know each other better, for example. So there are things like that you can do. So I want to say, really, the GTP program provides this sort of a platform for you all. It's already there. It's then how much further you want to take it, because I'm just comparing it to my sort of a professional. I was hired professionally into the firm. So to have that sort of network, it is possible as well, but that's probably just an extra step for me to try to get to know a person better. I mean, if we're back to normal, or if it was normal, I'll say, hey, let's go grab coffee, or let's go grab lunch. So it's one of those things. But I want to say the GTP platform is already there, and then you can already connect people with it's already given to you where you know everyone, so it will be easier for you to do that sort of networking and the sort of interaction. But professional level, it's also possible. Again, up to you how you want to drive it as well. Yeah, I hope that answered your question, Joseph.
Yeah, that did. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Hi, okay, so we have a question from Neil. He's an international student, so he's asking whether there are like opportunities for Indian students who are pursuing like their undergraduate at UBS. Neil,
Is
if you
Neil
want to
on the line?
unmute, if you want to unmute to elaborate more on like,
Yeah,
like
Neil. Hi,
situation.
Neil. Nice to
Hi.
meet you. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry,
So
just trying to understand your question. Undergraduate opportunities in UBS.
yeah, for Indians.
Definite. Oh, we do not, we are all about inclusion. We embrace diversity. It doesn't matter where you are from. There will always be opportunities. If I may ask, where are you based? Are you based in India, or are you
Yeah.
based in? Okay, right. Our presence in UBS is also very strong in India, I'm sure. You must have seen my colleague Manjari or whoever in campus actually. I guess this year is a little bit different and it's a little bit special. And yes, for undergraduates, there are always opportunities. But I have to say, in India, in my understanding, the recruitment is done a little bit differently in India. Right. And also the opportunities, if you're looking at India itself, it would be different from the rest of the APEC region, meaning that just because of the needs, and of course on what the business needs are at the moment. So I would strongly recommend for you to look at the career website. There will be opportunities that are posted there, so please go under APEC, do a search, and then you'll see what comes on there. If I understand, the recruiting cycle is a little bit different from like Singapore and Hong Kong as well. And previously, the recruitment, it used to be on campus, right? It's like an immediate sort of interview process right there and then. Am I right to say that, Neil?
I'm not sure about, because I just started my undergraduate. It's been 2 years. I'm in my second year right now, so I'm not sure about how they take interviews.
Okay, right. So my understanding from my colleague when I spoke to her the last time is, maybe it's a bit different now. So you'll be advised by your career offices when it's recruitment cycle. Previously, it used to be physical, and the line managers are there. And of course, before that, your career office would also advise you on the days where the different hiring companies are and what the roadshow is. And my understanding is that, it will be pretty much like a straightforward on that day itself sort of an interview process, and the hiring is right there, if I remember it correctly. So please do look out for, the recruitment sort of cycle for India, and then, reach out to your career offices, because, we do hire quite a lot in India as well, especially on the technology side. Yeah, we're always looking for technology people in India. So
Thank
please,
you so
please
much.
be no problem. Be in
Yeah,
contact, with your career offices. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's
okay,
covered by
sure.
one of my colleagues. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions?
I guess I have one more, like thinking more down the line, not just about internship, because UBS is actually one of the companies that I do want to like build a career in, right? So I guess I also want to have a family, in the next like few years. So my question is, how does UBS support new families? And yeah, I'm not sure if it's a question that you'd be able to answer.
Uh,
Yeah.
maybe I don't have I won't have a, a right answer for it. Whatever that I'm sharing, it's really from my personal experience, and what I could share in my capacity in that sense. We are a very inclusive and firm, I want to say, and really support employees in whatever way that we can. So for example, speaking for myself again, right? So that is the best way that I can, probably represent the firm to a certain extent, and really sort of like just share with you what the firm has done for me. So again, I took a break for 11 years, and it is a long time to get back to work again. And to be honest, this was the first job that I applied, or this is the first bank that I applied to, and I really wanted to get back to the firm again, because they are so supportive. So I had a family and all that, and I took the break, and I made the decision to take that break. And if you go, UBS has this comeback career program. I mean, I'm speaking as a female, okay, Joseph, so that you are to kind of like let you know where I'm coming from. So they have this career comeback program, and it's really the category that I fall under, because they recognize, at some point, because of the role of a woman, and what you have to do, there could be a gap, in your career, where you have to take, for obvious reasons, for the family and all of that. But having said that, it does not mean that this, just because you take on like a mother role, for example, right, that your skill sets disappear along the way, that your productivity disappears, with that new role that you've undertaken, and your value add, it suddenly disappears just because you take on a new role as a mother. So it's amazing that UBS recognizes all that. Um, that there are certain sort of commitment and certain decisions that I had to make along the way, for the role that I take on as a mother, that I still have that skill sets in me. I still have that, value add. I still have that capability, and I can still value add. And they took me back 11 years later, and they still see that I can contribute to the team, to the firm, with what I have. So it's quite amazing to feel that way, that a bank, or a company, or the company that I work for, actually still value and still values what I have done, and still sees me, um as a good employee from 11 years ago, and they are willing to give me the opportunity to try on where I am, so despite the sort of break that I have taken. So it's really very reassuring, and it's just amazing to be back, and to be working with a firm like that actually supports all that. And having said that, prior to that, there's always that flexibility, like the line manager understands the commitment, And there's that, if I do want, I have friends, who has got that flexible sort of working hours because they just have younger children and they need that, and it is supported. And then there's also, the part-time option, which, some firms do not encourage as much, but it is always a discussion that you can have with your line manager, if you need to bring that up, certain sort of flexibility in your role, and what it is, a conversation that you don't have to be afraid to bring up, if that's what basically I'm trying to say. And the team and the business will see how they can support in the best way possible for that. So that's from a woman's perspective, but I also understand within the firm itself there are different sort of action groups. There's also, for dads, for example, that you, if you need that sort of support, or if you need, a certain sort of arrangement, it's always something that I think it's open to discussion. I think that's very important, that it is open for discussion and certain arrangement can be made. It is not something that you can't even broach. It's not even a topic that, you feel like, oh, will I get in trouble if I bring it up or if I even mention it? So yeah, I think that makes a world of a difference, that you can, just the comfort level of being able to bring that up openly. And it is, it's just a matter of working out a certain arrangement. I think that it's amazing itself already. So I hope that helps, coming from my perspective.
Yeah, no, that definitely enforced the flexibility, and that was
Yes,
what I was getting
definitely.
for. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Joseph. Thank you.
Mainly just to clarify, right? You are staying here until 4:30, is it?
Yes, I can be here till 4:30. That's correct.
Okay. Because the actual event space ends at 5, but I can share for you on behalf of you afterwards.
Okay, all right. Or if there are
Yeah.
more people coming in, if you let me take a 5 minutes break, and then I will come back if you don't mind. Anyone has a question for me now? If not, if I can
Oh,
just take a
okay.
5 minutes break, and then I will come back in a bit. Any questions?
There is
Okay,
one
sure. Let me take
question.
that first.
Okay, how about we go through this
Sure,
question
definitely.
first, then we can take a
Sure.
break. Yeah. Okay, so I think they want you to elaborate a bit more on the job scope and the responsibilities of asset management.
Of asset management. Uh, I have to apologize that I probably should not be the one who is talking on behalf of, asset management, because I am not from that department. So I don't want to sort of, misrepresent them in any way. But if I can strongly encourage you all to actually go into our career website and also the UBS website. It's very comprehensive, to let you all know of what we do within, each of the various business division itself. There are some sort of differentiation. So, as asset management, it's really advising on institutional clients and corporate clients. So that's essentially what they do in terms of the investment, and in terms of the different industries and all that. So if you really want to find out more information about each of the various business divisions, so I would strongly advise for you to look into the website. It gives you information about that. And also, like I mentioned, the up and coming sort of business insight series that we will be holding. Please do look into our website for information, and follow us on Instagram. There would be information on when the event is holding. So please sign up for that, and you will get to hear from the various like leaders from the various business divisions, to get a better insight of what it is, because I don't want to misrepresent them in any way. So it's better to find out and listen more from them. When we have our events.
Okay, so if there's no follow-up questions, I think we can take like a 5-minute break for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just take a 5 minutes break, and have just let me get some water.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. Thanks, Anton. I'll see you in a bit.
It's okay. Okay, I'll send all the relevant stuff in the chat, so y'all can take a look.
Hi, Anton, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hang on, let me just connect it to my headset. Give me 2 seconds, sorry. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, hi. Sorry, just needed to take a 5 minutes break.
Does anyone else have questions? Or Mindy, do you want to share anything else with the rest of them, since they're quite interested in the internship programs?
What else would I like to share with them? Let me just take a quick look. I think we pretty much have the same people whom we have on previously. So like I mentioned, you know, the internship program, yeah, it is open for those who are in your penultimate years. I think, you know, if you're not looking at the industrial placement where you have to take, you know, a longer gap year off school, you know, I think, you know, a 10 weeks program, it would be something that you may want to consider during your summer break, you know, to want to find out about UBS. And I think that's the shortest way, you know, for you to actually have an experience of what the firm has to offer, what we are like, and you know, that will give you a sense of, you know, what the culture of the bank is like, what our values are, you know, whether it is a fit to what you are looking at, especially in, you know, growing your career and you know, upon graduation, and you really do well in your summer internship program, you know, that would be, then you will be offered a GTP role upon your graduation. So I would strongly encourage anyone to actually take a look at that, you know, apply for the summer internship program, because that will definitely give you an insight to whether this is a firm for you, you know, if it is aligned with what you are looking at doing upon graduation, and if you're considering, you know, the banking and finance industry, if you are not you know, if you're not looking at if you're not from that sort of degree sort of discipline and study, you know, to consider and just open your options and see whether that is, you know, an industry that you would like to build your career in. I think that is actually a very good way to find out if it is for you. So a 10 weeks, you know, of an investment of your time on your end, I think it would be a very good investment to actually do, to register and to sign up and apply for our program, to have a sense of what we are like and to see whether there's a fit from that. Yeah. So that's what I would say about, you know, the summer internship program.
Okay, thank you for that. So there's another question from Tai Ko. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. But I think they're asking about whether positions for other operations within UBS will be open. So specifically, he was asking about positions in wealth management. So do you want to elaborate a bit on that?
Again, you know, I would say do stay very connected and you know, sign up on the various sort of social medias that we are on, and also do look on our career website, especially opening July August next year. All the positions and all the hirings, it will be posted on our career website. So I would strongly encourage you all, you know, if you're looking then and planning for your next steps and what to do during your break, and especially if you're in your penultimate years, to please, you know, look at our website, because that's where all the information will be, the requirements, the job description, a brief write-up about the bank. Do take a look at it. That will be the best way and place for you to find out more information on the various openings, you know, and across the various business division. And looking at that, you know, when you're looking at everything on the website, you may find that maybe not just only global wealth management that you're looking at, but you may also consider, say, asset management or investment banking, or even, group functions. That's something that you can look at as well. Yeah.
Hello, Minnie. Hello, my
Hi,
name is.
Phoebe. Hi.
Yes, I just want to ask as well, right? So, I know UBS, you guys like are more into the financial sector, like the banks and everything. So, for me, I'm studying something that is totally not finance related, and sometimes it's a bit daunting to think that, oh, like, there's always this thing. Oh, there's some people who say that I will never work in a bank kind of thing, and then they end up in a bank, right? So I find it very funny. But yeah, I think I'm one of those people that I'm like, okay, I don't really see myself working in a bank because of that fear of not being able to fit in, right? I'm studying marketing and comms, so it's not really like the finance side. And usually when I see those job posting, right, you need to know something about the risk management or like the wealth management and all. I'm just like, whoa, what's that? So yeah, do you have any advice in a sense, like if no one, I might be interested in the bank sector, then bank industry, sorry, then like what I should do about that?
Sure, Phoebe. Thanks for your question. I think you just joined us, and I was actually sharing with the group, about my personal experience and also about the bank in general. If I may just repeat myself here for the rest, and I'll keep it very brief. What I was mentioning is that we do not just look at what your degree, discipline, or study is. We strongly believe that everyone has got a different offering on the table, with your diverse background, with your different learning, with your different sort of experiences. You have different things to offer to the table. Of course, we were talking about alignment of what you would like to do as opposed to what the job is looking for. So having said that, there must be a marry of both. It can be that, let's say if you are from sort of like you mentioned marketing and marcom sort of background, and if you are looking at, a very quad role, for example, or very sort of a role that requires, let's say, financial modeling, for example, it's a lot to do with numbers. I mean, that's the job nature itself. But is it something that you are looking at doing? That probably isn't the case, because if that's what you're looking at doing, you probably wouldn't choose to study, marketing and marcom, for example. Right. So by having said that, like you mentioned, sometimes it looks a bit daunting looking at, what are all the requirements and all of that, right? But, there must be a certain marry of both, as I mentioned. Within the bank, there is also marketing and marcom. It doesn't have to be like the hardcore number crunching, deals related kind of roles that you're looking for. Within the firm itself, marketing communication is a very strong thing, and it's a very important thing within the bank itself, because the way we market to the people outside, the way we market our branding, the way we communicate and to send a message, that is marketing and that's marcom. What I'm doing is campus marketing, for example. I'm talking about what UBS is and what we do and all of that. It is to a certain extent marketing as well. So within the bank itself, within UBS itself, there are many different areas that we are looking at, that different skill sets can bring to the table, to actually fit in that role. So when you talk about banking industry, it's not just about numbers. It's not just about closing deals. It's not just about advising on investments. There are other aspects that you can look at within UBS. And again, I was telling the rest of the people here, that there are other areas within the bank that you can look for. And again, UBS is one that really supports diversity. And we really look at the different skill sets that you have, that you can bring to the table and you can offer. So yeah. So to your question, don't be afraid to apply for any positions in UBS, because we go through a certain series of assessment, and if you clear a certain assessment, and the final one would be you're put in front of the line manager. It would then be a conversation to find out a little bit more about the role, and then to find out whether it is something that you want to do, whether there's an alignment with what you are looking at building your career in. So I was telling them I was from my major was finance and marketing. I tried the finance and I'm doing the marketing right now. So it depends on what you want to do. The firm has everything to offer. It's really, you know, don't feel so intimidated by all that big words out there. Maybe you're not looking at the right role for yourself, but you know, we do have different roles that are open. You know, we had the internship for corporate communications, for example. That is something that you can look at, and it may be something that you're interested in, and it is something that's important to us, because the way we communicate as a corporate to external, it can't just be something that we write at our whim and fancy. You know, it's got to be structured. It got to be a certain message. It's got to be done properly. It's important because it's got to represent the bank right. It's got to be interpreted right. So, you know, there is a function for you if that's what you're looking at doing, for example.
Actually, I have another question. Like,
sure, go ahead.
I just want to ask you personally, right? Like, you know, there's so many in the industry, so many banks out there. You know, like, what made you choose UBS? And how long have you been working at UBS? If I may.
Okay. You should have joined us earlier. I was
I'm
telling
so
you all about my
sorry.
life. No, I'm joking. I was telling them all about my life story, and they're probably like hearing it again. So in a nutshell, long story short, I was with UBS 14 years ago, but I didn't work for 14 years. I didn't work for 14 years.
Okay.
So I was with the bank in 2007. And I stopped at 2009, and I took an 11 years gap. And I just joined the firm again in July this year. So I was telling them, you know, the reason why, long story short, the reason why I joined the bank and I looked at UBS again is because of the, you know, it's amazing culture, amazing support. You know, and I really enjoyed my time at UBS, and that's why when I was ready to come back to work after, you know, taking a break as a mother, you know, I decided to come back into the workforce again, and UBS gave me the opportunity to come back again. And they see me, you know, that I can still value add. I still have my skill sets. You know, I just took a break because of my commitment, but you know, I still have what it takes to contribute to the team, to what I'm doing and to the firm. And they took me back in July. And I'm working again, and it's been fantastic. I just felt like I have never left before. And you know, this was the first bank that I applied to when I was ready to come back to work, and they took me back. So just to answer your question, it is for me personally, and I think really, you know, like you mentioned, there are so many other banks out there. You know, we have our competitors as well. You know, and what really sets us apart, I think, is really the culture of the bank itself. You know, the support level that's there, it has been immense. You know, the teamwork within the teams itself, it's not just something that we talk about, but it's really lived and breathed in what we do in it. And you know, that is the culture of the bank, and everyone is expected to be that. And I think it's an amazing sort of environment to be in. You know, when you have the sort of team support, when your line manager supports that, and the bank supports that. And I was just telling the rest of the people here again, you know, it was there's also, you know, the career opportunities that's being offered within the bank. So I've been with the bank all in, I want to say about 3.5 years, you know, excluding the break, and I have done 3 different roles. Because I would like to experience different things to make my experience complete. So I was actually in recruiting previously, and then after that I was doing the learning and development, and now I'm in campus marketing. So it's all within sort of like the HR junior talent space. I just wanted to make that HR experience complete, because in HR itself, it's not just about hiring people. There are many elements to it, and there are many different parts to it. So, you know, with that, just the 3.5 years, I've done 3 different roles to make my own sort of experience more complete, to have a, you know, overall understanding of how things work. And the bank supported that. So I think that's very amazing. So I mentioned to the people here that, you know, UBS supports that, and there is a platform for that. So, you know, it depends whether there's a fit and whether it's aligned with what you would like to do as an individual to grow. You know, it's something that, you know, you can always have the discussion with the line manager, and, you know, the role is there and things like that. So yeah, having that platform to be able to do that. And again, you know, is the culture, the supportiveness, and, you know, all of that. I think, you know, that's what really sets us apart. And even for me personally, I think, you know, I can say that I really experienced it myself, and that's why I can say, you know, it's been amazing for me, and that's why I chose to come back here when I was ready to come back to the workforce again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
I have one more. Sorry, I don't know whether you was asked before that, but like
No, bring it on.
when you mentioned something that I'm really curious about, because you mentioned like you went from one experience to another experience, because you want to make your experience complete, which is something that I really personally appreciate a lot. And is there like a minimum amount of time that you need to be in this position before you can go to another position, like at least 1 year or stuff like that, or like the line manager will see what are your personal goals and what are your performance like before sharing like what's your next steps, etc.
Right. I wouldn't put a finger to say, hey, 1 year is enough to know and to learn, for example, right? I mean, it's really up to individual. Again, whether, let's say, 1 year may be too short for you or it may be too long for someone, right? And again, then, it really depends on what you want next and whether the opportunity was there, for example. So to answer your question, I wouldn't say that, yes, it has got to be a minimum of 1 year, but I will say that, it takes time for you to actually learn a role or to learn enough about a role to contribute, to learn about it, to be able to contribute it, and then, to be able to say, hey, I've learned enough, and in line with my personal development, I would like to move on to the next. Sometimes it can be a year, sometimes it can be 2, sometimes it can be 5, or sometimes it can be 10, for example. It's like, I have enough, I want to move on to the next thing. So I think how I would like to answer it is that, for any role, if I may say, I think, have to go through a 1 year cycle to kind of have a sense and a full sense and appreciation of what it is, to be able to learn the ropes and to contribute and say, hey, maybe it's something that I want to move on to the next. And then let's see what else is next. There could be a next, or it could be, 2 years, maybe nothing has come up yet, but we have to kind of wait and see what happens. But for me, in my personal experience, so happened it was one of those things that tied in very nicely for me, and for me to just move into the next role and the next, within my span of time with UBS, and to make my experience complete. So it's a combination of factors, I want to say, whether the role was there and whether it's in line with what you want. But having said that, there will always be that platform, and it gives you the understanding and appreciation of what things are like, So for example, for me, I just joined, this role this year. What was done previously last year is completely different from what it would have been this year. If I joined the role last year, it would have been like physical roadshow, and I probably would be meeting you guys face to face. But this year was a crazy year, I just, and up to in Singapore, when I joined, we were still talking about the possibility of, a physical campus recruitment in Singapore, at least in July, because we were just kind of waiting for phase 2 to open and see what it was going to be like. But by August, it was like, no, right? So everything went on virtual. So can I say then I joined July this year to next year July, that that 1 year I would have learned enough to move on? I probably would say not, because I don't know what's going to happen in July next year. It could be physical, it could be virtual. But for me to understand a whole recruitment cycle, from July to July next year, maybe it's enough for me to say, hey, I've gone through one whole recruitment cycle. I kind of have a sense of what it is like to make that decision. But again, it depends whether there's another position that's going to be open. But having said that, it's so different this year to what next year is going to be. It may take at least 2 years, just so that I have a good enough sense to say, hey, have I learned enough in this role? Have I, really contributed in this role? Would I want to do something different, the following year, and see what happens from there? But having said that, even if you're in the same role, you can always bring changes to it, depending on what the situation is and how you view it. So that's where we appreciate that openness and discussion. And I was telling, that the people here that if you have any thoughts, if you have any ideas, it's always an open communication, and we always encourage that forthcoming, feedback, and discussion with your line managers on how maybe you can do things differently. That's where process and change comes about, when there's a conversation and you know enough to say, hey, I know enough, but I think there's something wrong with it and we can fix it in a different way. So yeah. So to answer your question, it can just be a year. I don't know. It really depends on the function that you are looking at. And also, it's a myriad of different factors of how the environment could be, how the firm is looking at change, and how you individually, like to bring about that change, or whether, you're looking for the next change. So yeah, but again, the platform is there when you feel like you want to do something different and opportunity comes up, the platform is there.
People who have just come back.
Sorry, I'm like also in the Bevy platform because like, it's gonna start soon. So like the MC was just talking. Sorry, I didn't mute.
No worries.
You start to.
It's okay. Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Could you share more about your time in learning development, learning, training, and
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes. So okay, it's very different 11 years ago. Okay, I have to say. So when I was there in learning and development, it was that's where we first started the graduate talent program. So I was one of the first few people who actually, were the first group of people to start up this graduate it was called graduate training program, talent program. Now it's called the graduate talent program. So it's a very important space, and that's when, the landscape was a little bit different from 11 years ago. So it was a great space to be in because, like I mentioned earlier, there is a process of things, when you bring people in, you don't just bring them in and expect them to be equipped to know about what it is, what the bank does, and just get on with the job. Training and development, constant learning, it's very, very important for any individual, as for your own growth and also for the growth of the company, and to be able to equip the people with the skill sets and to grow. I think that's very important. And when we talk about learning and development, it's not just about your skill sets that you can contribute, but also, right now, about your personal well-being, as an individual, what you're looking at to learn and to grow. So fast forward to 11 years later, this is a very important space that UBS look at. With the team, last time it was a smaller team, but now we have a very dedicated team to look at the learning and development for each and every of our employees in the different business division. So we have this thing in our bank called My Campus, right? Which is you are responsible for your own learning. Of course, there are some mandatory trainings that you have to go through. And there are some sort of, selected trainings that you would like to go to. And it could be training that is from different topics. So for example, like I said, mandatory training, you have to go through it. And then you have, depending on your business division, there are certain trainings that you're encouraged to go for. So there are also firm-wide sort of training that you can choose, and decide that you want to go for. And things include like things, for example, where I am in my function, what would help me, there's a whole campus offering, right? And you can go into it and you can see what will help you to equip yourself with the right skills. So for example, in marketing, being creative is one thing. So there's a course on creating that you can actually sign up for depending on the timing, and then you log that in and decide that for yourself, that it's very important. And then there could be on marketing, how best to marketing in different ways. So it's amazing how it's almost like a school that you can choose and decide, the learning aspects that you want to, and you can just register for that. But the amazing thing is that there is a dedicated team that come up with the curriculum, for all employees, thinking of everyone in mind, and then you can actually sign up for it. And there are always other things, if you want to learn more about, the other business, there are also training that you can sign up for. Just listen in just for information, because, for example, for my role, it helps to know what, in general, what the other business divisions are doing. So it's things like that that I can actually sign up for. And it's just amazing how it is. I don't know if you're aware, but there is, we're actually in the midst of moving office to 9 Penang Road. But we used to have a UBS university, where actually, that's a space in Kiam Hok for our staff to go for training and development. And you have to clock your training and development, and staff are responsible for their own learning. And line managers are encouraged to ask their staff to actually go for that learning and development. And that university where we have our training space will be moved into our new office in 9 Penang Road, where it's a very conducive environment for learning, and you sign up for 2-3 days sort of workshop, whatever it could be. So to answer your question, where I was before 10 years ago, it was already important, but I think it's even more important today. And I think it's amazing how the bank has, over my time, that what I have seen, it is such a dedicated team in the learning and development space from the global level, and it comes down to the various regions and to the kind of topics and the kind of structure that is placed around it, to ensure that each and every staff is equipped with the skills that they have to do their work. And then on a personal level, on what they would like to do, and different offerings that they would like to do. I think that's something that you can see that the bank is very dedicated to, on a personal level of learning and development. And also you need the skill set to grow, and you need the skill set to do other roles, and we have that platform again, for you all to do that. I think that speaks a lot for itself, the commitment that we have placed on that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I have a quick follow-up. So
Sure.
does this extend to the interns and people under the GTP program as well, or is it like only for full-time employees?
Which one again? Sorry.
For like the training and development curriculums.
So it's different. So we have a dedicated training program for the summer people for that 10 weeks, what you need to know. For sure there's, orientation, you need to be orientated on what the whole bank structure, and you need to know how to access your email. You need to know how to, go into the intranet to find things. So, they are like, so depending on what it is, but, to answer your question, summer internship, there's a certain structure for that program that's tailored for the summer interns to help them, to equip them. And then the GTP again, there are certain training elements as a whole block, that you need to go for. And then there's also business division specific to help you to do your job, not only just as a GTP. And then at a professional level, there are also training that's ongoing all the time that you can choose to do, and what you have to do. So it's a process, and we recognize that it's an ongoing process, and the offerings is all there. It's what you would like to do. So yes, to answer your question, it's not just for the summers, it's not just for the interns, it's not just for the GTPs, but at a professional level, it's continuous. It's just what you want to do. You go into my campus, all the offerings are there. Yeah, what you want to know, you are able to actually just sign on and learn.
Awesome, thank you so much. That clarifies it.
No problem, Joseph.
Okay, so if there are any other questions, I would draw your attention to the email, because I think we are going to overrun a little. So I'll urge all of you to continue to the next agenda on Bevy. I've sent the link in the Zoom chat. And yeah, any closing statement, Millie?
Not really closing statement. I just want to say thank you to you all for your time today, in taking your Saturday afternoon to come to my booth to listen. I hope you have found it informative as much as, I enjoyed my sharing with all of you. So if I may say, a lot of it is from my personal experience and in my capacity, and in my understanding. So if you have any questions or you want to know anything else, I put my email up previously, so feel free to reach out to me, and I'll try my best to direct you in the right place. Or if I can answer your question, I would do that. But I would strongly encourage you all, to actually look at our career website, because and follow us on Instagram as well, because all the information, updated information, it's continuously there. So do keep yourself in the loop of what's going on if UBS is what you are looking at. Yeah, definitely we are always looking at diverse talents, and we are always looking at engaging students. So it was really nice to spend my Saturday afternoon with you all, and I really enjoy talking with you all. So feel free to reach out to me if anything. If not, I wish you all the best for the rest of the weekend, and take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you guys in campus at some point. If we do, please come up and say hi to me.